Illinois Community College Board last year. New for a morning audience, this school is using some of that money for a new early childhood mock classroom for teachers in training.
When we want to really get across a point to the student about active supervision, we're able to actually use this environment to role model and to play out those things with the students.
John Wood officials say the other part of the grant money will go toward technology and other items to equip students with what they need to be successful in the job field. New this morning, if you're an older adult looking for resources in the community, today there's a one-stop shop available. Happening today, the Salvation Army Kroc Center in Quincy is hosting an adult health fair from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They'll have nutrition education from local dietitians, blood pressure screenings, and vendor booths from local medical professionals, Quincy transportation, senior housing options, estate and funeral planning, and more.
We just really realized that we need to have more information out there to our community members about the different products and services that are available to them that they may not know about.
The health fair is free. We have more details on what you should bring to the fair on this story at WGEN.com. Talk about insult to injury. It is going to be a long harvest season, according to state officials in Illinois. Planting delays this spring could mean a significant portion of this year's crop doesn't mature on time. Illinois Director of Ag John Sullivan says soybeans, which require a shorter growing season than corn, have caught up for the summer for the most part. But the state's corn crop is behind what it should be for this time of year.
You know, we're going to see some challenges with getting this crop in the bank, in the elevator and in the grain bins, and so we're certainly, you know, we hope for some good weather. We need some good dry weather, and certainly we still need some hot weather to finish out some of those crops to get it to maturity.
Sullivan also urges drivers to share the road with farmers heading into harvest time. Happening tonight, Keokuk City Council will begin talks about a franchise contract with Liberty Utilities for natural gas service. The city says that the current contract expired 5 years ago, and it's been operating on a year-to-year basis since then. Now the city is looking to lock in a franchise for a 20-year term with amendments allowed at 10 and 15 years. The city wants to hold a public hearing on October 3rd to get comments before moving forward. Also happening tonight, the Keokuk Council looks to approve service to improve the wastewater treatment plant at its nutrient reduction strategy. Council will also review the potential purchase of a backhoe for sewer maintenance department and a Bobcat track loader for the bridge maintenance department. Happening today, Missouri Governor Mike Parson will be in St. Louis to announce steps that the state plans to take to address gun violence in that region. It's an area a lot of us travel to often, and this marks the third time that Parson has been in the St. Louis area this month as he looks to address a string of homicides, especially involving children. 11 children have been killed in St. Louis this year alone. 2 other child deaths are also under investigation. A federal judge denies an attempted compromise on Missouri's abortion ban. State lawmakers wanted to allow a ban on abortions after 20 weeks of pregnancy, after previously implementing the law which criminalizes abortions after 8 weeks of pregnancy. The law would have gone into effect last month, but has been halted in the court system. New details this morning about what may have motivated an airplane mechanic to sabotage a plane. That man accused of trying to sabotage an American Airlines flight is behind bars this morning and will stay in custody until his trial. That after a judge denied his bond and said that he may sympathize with terrorists. John Lawrence has this new report.
A bombshell during Wednesday's bond hearing for Abdul Majid Maroof Ahmed Alani. Prosecutors said the airline mechanic forwarded a terror video from his phone to another person. Experts worry about copycats.
Whether or not this fellow is really involved with ISIS or not, now ISIS and other would-be terror groups have this possibility in mind.
Prosecutors also claim the 60-year-old wrote, "Allah, we ask you to use all your might and power against non-Muslims."
Why does it take the prosecutors to say he's an ISIS member? Why doesn't he stand there and say, I did it for the cause of God, I'm a member of ISIS? This is confusing, this one.
Alani is charged with willfully damaging, destroying, disabling, or wrecking an aircraft. Authorities say he tampered with a system that collects data like a plane's speed.
You have to know how fast the plane is going to do a successful takeoff. It's a very dangerous malfunction.
The July 17th flight from Miami was aborted with no injuries reported. Alani had been with American Airlines since 1988.
They do a criminal search and they also do drug testing. But once you're behind the lines, once you're in the business, unless you show signs of something going wrong, you're kind of trusted.
The carrier has fired Alani and says it's cooperating with the investigation. John Lawrence, WGEM News.
Happening today in Washington, more details could come out on the new economic sanctions that President Trump has ordered against Iran. The president is blaming the country for last week's attack on critical Saudi Arabia oil fields. He says the sanctions are significant. Some on Capitol Hill want tougher action.
If they don't pay a price for bombing a neighbor's oil fields, then all hell is going to break out in the Mideast.
Meanwhile, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says he's called the attack an act of war, and he and the Saudis are urging the international community to come together to counter the threat. To breaking weather update, cleanup and damage assessment resumes this morning in parts of Houston after a tornado ripped through the area. The storm left limbs of trees all over the roads yesterday evening. Parts of roofs on some houses are torn off and trees are toppled over. As you see in the video there have been no reports of any injuries. And staying out in Texas, tropical depression Imelda continues to slam the southeast part of the state with heavy rain, causing flooding issues this morning. We've got a live look for you in Winnie, Texas this morning, where you can see that roads are completely washed out this morning as they continue to get that heavy rain. Some parts could see as much as 5 more inches of rain as this storm makes its way through. It's difficult for drivers to get around and travel. The National Weather Service has also issued flash flood warnings in several parts of Texas. Think you have a future entrepreneur in your family? A new entrepreneurship education program for some high school seniors will start at the beginning of next school year in Adams County. It's called Adams County CEO or Create